Hey guys, as my Mordheim mess grows, I am now going to be showing you guys how to. I had a cobblestone side. I did a bunch of this kind of off camera early. It was kind of before my first video. I actually kind of was making this, and I thought, you know what, a video would be good on this. But anyway, I'm going to show you how I did that. So, we got a ton of bricks. They're just off camera. And to add texture to them, some people have mentioned putting these in like a canister with like actual rocks and just shaking it up. That's too loud, unfortunately, for me, so I just crush them in my hand a bit, in both hands, and it won't look as good, obviously, but that's okay because this is a ton of rocks anyway. Most people won't notice all that many of them, but they do get really roughed up and they start looking a little funkier. Um, but we're going to do that on a large scale. Now I'm going to pause real quick, squeeze a bunch more rocks so we get a nice pile going, and we're going to build this here. So I will be back in a second. You won't notice a difference though, obviously. Hey guys, back again. You didn't notice a difference, except of course the pile has gotten bigger. Now, what I did was I didn't want to make this too tall, so obviously with all Mordheim things, keep at least one average sized guy for scale. Obviously, taller creatures that you might throw in or that your buddies are home brewing or anything might mess with that, but we'll just assume most people of my gaming group will be playing with basic human sized guys, because as far as I know, they are. So this guy isn't too bad, and you can see this kind of goes up to his hip at the highest, so it won't give him crazy cover. Like, it won't give him any cover, realistically. That's the plan. This is just to show that there is a bridge that they put work into. But the biggest issue is this overlap with wood. Now, this I hadn't actually noticed until right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a pair of clippers. And I've got like 6 of these. I buy them in bulk on eBay. But I'm just going to clip this edge. You can also use less, like something a bit more careful than these. But yeah, I'm just going to get this out of the way real quick. I'll pause and you'll see after. And back again. Sorry, I'm not really putting any jump cuts or anything into this because I'm still not sure how to do that. I'll be trying to work on my editing soon. But for now, I just clipped them all, went from there. Now another thing, the floor. I'm still not sure how I'm going to flatten this floor, because obviously these like great holes won't be any good. But that's actually kind of, I am building this kind of early. I shouldn't build this now in most cases, but I'm not really trying to be like a perfectionist or anything. This is just a destroyed city, so I'm going to kind of build what I feel like, and I'm still going to try and eventually flatten out these floors, but I don't know what the plan is yet. But eventually we will flatten it, which is why I'm not building these out too far. They're going to be kind of like, that's the farthest out they'll go. That way I can just build around them when I do decide how to flatten them. Now what you could do is hot glue every single brick individually. I'm not going to do that because that's a lot. And I'm kind of operating on the idea of like a limited amount of time to kind of do stuff. So I'm going to hot glue the thing that will touch the glue the most. So we're going to do a bit on the wall and a bit on the floor here. And we just grab bricks and kind of force them into place. And because these are not actually uniform, as I mentioned, so these actually, you can kind of just kit bash these however you want, like, because obviously that's kind of how it works. You want ideally rocks that are roughly the same size, and if you're building a city, but you know, this is again a destroyed city, so maybe this bridge is recently built, so it's not exactly gonna last forever. So it's just kind of whatever they can do. So again, hot glue where the foam is gonna have the most contact. So we're gonna go along this kind of and slowly build that up. So because I can move a lot of bricks at a time, we're gonna do a longer area. And again, be careful not to, I don't think I mentioned this actually yet, be careful not to burn yourself, because I've done that with hot glue enough at this point. Not even from this project, just my whole history of working with it. I actually have a pretty bad scar from at work. We had a thing with hot glue, and I've got a scar right there, that darkened patch of skin there. Got hot glue that was way too hot on me, and it didn't go up too well. But obviously I'm fine. I don't really mind in the long run. But yeah, you can also again use these kind of bigger bricks. Just kind of use whatever you feel like looks good. And it doesn't have to be really, you know, individual bricks in my opinion look the best. You're kind of sacrificing There's a thing. It's, do you want something cheap, fast, or good? And you can choose two, but not all three. These you're sacrificing fast, but they look good, and obviously they're cheap. You can also you can carve the symbols or the shapes into the foam, which it doesn't look as good, but it's cheap and it's fast. And so on, you get it. Or you can just buy terrain, which is fast and good, but not cheap. So I personally do not want to buy terrain. I prefer building it because it feels, a bit better for me because I know all the little secrets of the area. I can walk people through it, and it's also just kind of shows skill when you get to show off something that you built. Even if it's not like a pro thing, like this is obviously, I'm not professional at this. This is my first time building a proper city. I spent the last week watching random people build all kinds of Mordheim stuff, and I just thought, you know what, my friends and I are getting into Mordheim, why don't we do that? I've got more stuff that I've built, but for now this is kind of where we're sitting. And this is kind of what I'm going to focus on, is this city block. I'm going to be building a second city block. I think I mentioned that in another video, but I'm building a second city block that'll attach to this, which actually you can kind of see right here. The path goes down that way. I can build it that way, or it can go this way, and I'll build another bridge that can either be removed or built in. But again, as I said, build the foam across, and now you've got your first layer. Now you can keep building up like I did over here, which I will be doing. But you could also just leave it here. My problem with leaving it here is because obviously this is one layer of brick, so it doesn't really look like a brick bridge. It looks more like you just chuck foam onto foam. So I add a second layer to at least give it more the look that, it was to some degree built. And here's the bigger issue. This is stability. This is just hot glue holding this foam together. So you can kind of see a few little holes. They aren't even really holes because I cut them flat against the stone, but I'll show you what those are later. Actually, I'll just tell you that's toothpicks I shoved through, clipped them off. So these actually are held firmly in place, hot glue and foam. Sorry, the phone keeps shaking. But yeah, essentially, that's way too much. Build what you feel looks good with whatever materials you can, and just try and make it look as good as you can. I also have a spare bit I'm going to have to add to the side of this as we go, but I will show you that later. So like for instance here we've got a longer, thinner brick. Oh, you also got to be careful not to knock off other stuff that you've built. You know what, we're going to go with thicker brick just across this. Make it look a bit more stable. It's funny because the other side is a lot more uniform bricks, so if you're paying close attention and you're playing, you'll think it's like obviously it might stick out. But once these are all painted, my buddies aren't going to really care that much, so I'm all good. I'll chuck this small one to kind of fill that in. We'll let it lean out like that a bit too to make it look more like it's kind of starting to collapse. So here we'll get that. There's a bit of hot glue still there. Let's grab one of these smaller bits and chuck it there. Now, because I've kind of already shown you what's going to happen across this bridge, I'm going to cut it here, but I will show you one more thing. I already had a piece of this. Oh, I have another one. I mentioned in another video that I went to a garage sale a while back and bought a bunch of these brass tokens, and I clipped these off with some tin snips for the other two. What I'm going to do is I have one on the other side. I'm going to chuck this guy like right here. You can barely see him. He's right here, that metal tip. So I'm going to put him right there. So, again, be careful. This is the kind of thing where it's close to your fingers. Put the hot glue in the middle first, and then do very minimal on the side so you don't burn yourself. And there's going to be string like that. At my point, it doesn't really hurt to touch that anymore, but if you're new to this especially, you should be careful. And again, these had a hole in it, so it's squeezed out. Be careful if you do something similar. Now, I'm fine. Obviously, it's cooled down a bit as I pressed it in, but just be careful with that. You don't want to be burning yourself. All right, I'll finish this off, but I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll start another video at some point soon. See you guys. Bye.